Have you seen this Bumble Fumble, like, bad marketing campaign? You know full well a vow of celibacy is not the answer. Or how about this, Jim? Thou shalt not give up dating and become a nun, because becoming a nun is bad. Why? And you might be asking, what the heck does this have to do with tarot? A lot. Let me introduce you to someone pretty special. Meet Queen of Spades. So let me tell you a little story about Queen of Spades, who later becomes Queen of Swords. So throughout the 1400s, playing card decks and oracle cards and tarot of all types were being disseminated through Europe. But it was the French that first introduced queens to the playing card deck. If you look at Germanic systems or Spanish patterns, there may not still be queens there, but the French added the queen. And what was really interesting is that the French assigned historical and mythological characters to each of their court cards. And as you see, our queen has the word Pallas up there in the corner. That stands for Pallas Athena. And so the Queen of Spades, the Queen of Swords, is the only queen that's a goddess, both in the playing cards as well as the tarot. So Athena was a goddess of handicraft, wisdom, and warfare. She sprung from Zeus's head. She was never married, and she never had children. She was a free woman in her own right. And during the time in France, Queen Pallas Athena, Queen of Spades, were called La Pucelle, like the Virgin. And there were often analogs made between that and Joan of Arc, who they also knew at that time. And so what we see is a aspect of celibacy or becoming a nun, right? Which Bumble doesn't want you to do, obviously. That was not only accepted, it was revered. The word palace has an older Greek meaning, and it could mean either one of these, they're not sure. Palace, to brandish a weapon, but also a young or youthful woman. Athena was also called or known as Parthenos, which is known as the Virgin. But what happened was that the Queen of Spades, Queen of Swords meaning started to shift over the centuries, and it's especially shifted when it started hitting Victoriana. And instead of this powerful goddess of her own right, untouched, unwanting, not wanting to take on the role of wife and mother, she was penalized for that. In the game of Old Maid, it is Queen of Spades who is the Old Maid. She is not the card anyone wants. Look at this lovely box of this woman whose face looks contemptuous and old and thin. And look at all the men below her laughing at her. This kind figure of an old maid, nicer than the last one, but certainly there she is with her cats. And what do these dudes online say? You're going to end up alone with just cats. Like it's a bad thing? And even this one, which is a more modern children's box, but you see that the child is looking at her with some kind of dumbstruck or overwhelmed expression. Again, kind of intimating that to be an old maid is to lose. No one wanted her. That's why she became that. Not because she chose it. And so we see this in other games too. There's a game called Crazy Eights where if you play the Queen of Spades, it means the next player has to pick up an extra 5 cards. If you play 7 card stud poker, Queen of Spades is the B-itch. A face-up deal of this queen results in the deal being completely abandoned and everybody has to reshuffle. And finally, in the game of hearts, the Queen of Spades is the most unlucky card and has the highest penalty score. She's also known as Black Maria, the Black Lady, or Calamity Jane. So instead of a goddess who is independent in her own right and has made her choice, she now has become a very tragic figure, because throughout Victoriana, what was it to be a woman except a wife and mother? And if you couldn't do that, clearly there was either something wrong with you or something very tragic. And so some of the words that were associated with Queen of Swords have persisted to this day. For example, Attila from, in the late 1700s, early 1800s, here are the words he used to associate with her: widowhood, emptiness, privation, absence, sterility, poverty, empty, vacant. And then let's throw a few bones, daring and free. That's all the upright meaning, by the way. Mathers in 1888, widowhood, loss, privation, absence, separation. Waite, widowhood, female sadness and female embarrassment. Absence, sterility, mourning, privation, and separation. It's clear that this was given through the lens of, if your vessel as a woman is not bearing children, then you're not only tragic, but your bad luck is going to rub up on the rest of us, and we don't want it. So this is a word cloud that I created. I went through about 20 to 30 sources spanning 100 years, just dumping keywords of Queen of Swords into the word cloud. So the bigger the word is up there, the more you saw that word being repeated over time, which gives us more of a stable idea of who this queen is. And the good news is it is shifting back to that Athena energy that she started off with. So here we see independent, strong, sharp, logical, aloof, right? So we're looking into more of the personality traits of our queen, and not that she's just some tragic figure. Though we do see still some of it. You see widowed at the very corner, dominating. Oh no, God forbid a woman do that. Detached, unyielding, sharp-tongued. She's so shrewish a man couldn't be with her. So we see those words still, but they're on their way out. And this word map I created from asking tarot readers in a tarot group what keywords did they associate. So we're getting a very modern take about how readers actually perceive Queen of Swords. And we get something that's less about tragedy and like, oh my God, not having kids and not getting married is the saddest thing, but we see a very different picture. Honest, look how big that word is. Direct, clear, intelligent, straightforward, sharp, judgmental, transformative even, intelligent and clear. So we see somebody who's emerging in her own right, back to her original meaning of Pallas Athena, without the patriarchal Victoriana lens. And I'm here for it. In fact, years ago, I did a quiz where I created a quiz that matched personality to which Queen of Tarot. And most of the people that took the test were Queen of Swords, believe it or not. And they were by a large margin. Queen of Swords was the first. Then it was Queen of Cups, but the margin between the two was really, really big. So when we come to this, we're being actively shamed for making choices about our bodies and our lives and how we want to spend it. Personally, I'd rather be this, and I bet you do too. Yep, enjoy.